Gracias.
Un aplauso.
Gracias.
Gracias a ustedes. Bueno, gracias al Banco El Pichincha también por participar. Han estado también desde el primer Digital Bank hace 4 años que comenzamos. Y quisiera ahora presentarles a nuestro siguiente expositor. Él va a hablar en inglés, su charla va a ser en inglés. Él viene directamente de Silicon Valley. Tiene una empresa, es CEO en realidad y dueño de la empresa en la que trabaja. Es una empresa que se llama Updome, que trabaja con multinacionales muy grandes, ¿no? Entre ellas de tecnología, de banca, de retail y demás. Y el día de hoy nos va a hablar sobre el tema de seguridad móvil, ¿no? Seguridad móvil y cómo trabajar en este entorno en el cual los hackers constantemente tratan de penetrar los sistemas y es una lucha constante. Así que realmente es un gusto tenerle a Tom Tovar directamente desde Estados Unidos. Tom, please join us here on the stage. How are you feeling the altitude? Are you okay?
Whew.
Yeah?
It's
Is it
great.
tough?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
the floor
great.
is yours. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Ecuador. Good morning, Quito. First of all, thank you to the Digital Bank and Insurance Program for having me. Thanks to my sponsor, our partner, and my friends at DOS. I don't know where you are in the audience. Okay, over there. Carlos, thank you for sponsoring me and having me come here. My job is to really share with you what's going on in mobile globally and share with you what's going on in mobile security globally. But before I do that, I want to let you know about the incredible partnership that we have with DOS. They 35 years in the security industry. They have a tremendous amount of experience in mobile apps, in cloud, in network security. So if I can, we'll start with a video about that.
DOS sigue evolucionando gracias a su confianza y lealtad. Gracias, porque sus sueños, metas y objetivos nos inspiran cada día a creer en un mejor Ecuador. Impulsamos el desarrollo de nuestros clientes a través de la tecnología y trabajamos constantemente en el compromiso de regalar al planeta más vida y a la sociedad un futuro mejor. Apoyamos programas de reforestación y reciclaje, talleres de empoderamiento para personas en situación de vulnerabilidad y adquirimos productos de pequeños emprendimientos. Gracias por ser parte de este gesto, fomentando un mayor nivel de conciencia en el mundo de los negocios. Nuestro compromiso es servir con amor, conectando personas para cumplir sus sueños. DOS y Updome les da la bienvenida a Digital Bank.
All right, good. Yay. All right. Okay. So in keeping with the theme of community service and contribution, my talk today is really more informational. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on what Updome does as a technology. We use basically AI to code security into apps, and we have a booth here outside. I encourage all of you to come by, see a demo, talk to the DOS team, and so forth. What I really want to do is share what's going on out in the mobile banking, insurance, fintech world from a security perspective. I like to start with this slide because it's from Forrester. It's an independent research agency, and Forrester points out a very, very interesting thing, and pay attention to the words they use. They say that the job of the mobile bank is to build trust to gain loyalty. And for those of you in the mobile banking business, you know that loyalty is all about customer acquisition, it's about retention, it's about average revenue per user, it's about engagement, and so forth. But Forrester says that the job of the mobile bank is to build trust. And so in a lot of ways, the job that you had way back when, you know, selling trust, I look at a lot of the ads out there and I see we're still selling trust. Forrester says that your job is to build trust. Now, why is that? Because it turns out over a third of surveyed consumers don't trust their mobile bank. Only less than 20% of millennials trust their mobile bank. This means that mobile banks have to work harder than ever to gain the trust of the next generation of mobile banking consumers. It's no longer a given that they're going to trust you because you're a bank. In the mobile world, in the mobile economy, you have to fight to gain that trust like every other competitor in the space. And they also say, they go so far as to say that mobile banks have to think about security differently, not as something in the background, but something actually in the UI that actually convinces the customer, the user, that they're in a safe place to transact business, to save money, to send money to relatives or what have you, that visually you have to be able to show the consumer that they are in a safe and trusted and protected space. I do a lot of work in Europe. I spend a lot of time with the European Central Bank. I was fortunate enough to be invited to the World Economic Forum. This survey is amazing to me. A survey of global consumers around the world basically ranked cyber theft, loss of identity and money from cyber attacks, as the fourth largest risk that they face as human beings, just below war, economic downturn, and the erosion of social systems. Think about that. It means that mobile and digital commerce is so important to every single human being that they rank it next to war in terms of where their risks are as a human being. Now, at AppDome, we do a lot of work evaluating mobile apps as well as securing them. And so we put together and we keep stats on how many bad things are going on inside of applications. And I'll tell you right now, 85% of the mobile apps that you have on all of your phones, whether they're from banking, whether they're from insurance, whether they're from retail, whether they're for social and so forth, have zero security embedded in them. This means all of your personal information, all of your credentials, all of your passwords, all of your usernames, everything is out in the clear. So it's amazing to me that as an economy, we have something that's so highly ranked, but so poorly addressed. And from a business perspective, everybody knows this. Bad things happen, the mobile economy goes down. Each mobile app has a separate economy. You have to pay so much to acquire the new user. You have to pay so much to get them to use it. They transact business on it, and you hope that the amount that they transact is going to be more than you spent to get the user to download the app. And your fundamental challenge is churn. The average life expectancy of a mobile app is about, roughly a year. People keep the app, update it, and so forth until they get tired of it. So you're in a race to earn as much as you can, as fast as you can, without having something bad happen. But if something bad happens, downloads go down, churn goes through the roof, you lose customers, you lose average revenue per user, you lose money. Consumers today have a tremendous amount of choices. I didn't do this research. This is actually Financial Times Partners did this research on fintech challengers and new non-bank banks out in the marketplace. This is an explosion of innovation, an explosion of new capabilities, new applications targeted at the millennial, targeted at the female consumer, using a very different conversation with the user. They don't talk about checking account and savings account. They talk about your loot and your stash. Okay? They allow you to set goals, personal goals, shared goals, social goals within the context of the modern way consumers think about mobile banking. And it's not just the non-bank banks that are doing it. Obviously, we do a lot of work with these three companies, Rakuten in particular. Rakuten is on a mission. Rakuten is actually applying to be a bank in the United States. Rakuten believes that they do not need a bank to transact business, to do credit card processing or any of that. They believe they themselves, as a retail company, a global retail brand, that they themselves can be a bank. So you are going to face competition, not just from the non-bank banks, not just from the fintech challengers, but from classic retail organizations as well. And Rakuten is not the only one. And of course, the Googles and the Apple Pays, and if you haven't been asleep for the last year or two, you haven't seen what Uber's doing. But effectively, all of these organizations, there's a very prominent venture capital firm in Silicon Valley called Andreessen Horowitz, and they predict that, in the next 3 years, everyone will be a fintech. I don't know that that's true. I don't know that I believe that. But what it means is consumers have an increasing amount of choice, and how you present security in your app and how you build trust to gain that loyalty and preserve those mobile economies is going to be more and more and more critical as you move forward. So how do banks do this? What do they do? How do you provide adequate security for your users without breaking the bank? If you're a normal bank around the world, and this is no criticism for any Ecuadorian bank at all, you've done a tremendous job protecting your back end. You've spent millions and millions and millions of dollars, hundreds, maybe thousands of man-hours, adding firewalls and anti-bot services and malware detection and all kinds of things on the back end, and you've done an amazing job. You should give yourself a round of applause. But I'm going to show you later how if you do not protect the app, none of that matters. So as you start to think about the mobile economy, you have to think about the development process. Protecting a website is not the same as protecting a mobile app. A website is just a page. It doesn't save anything. It doesn't store anything. But a mobile app is a full-blown application. It stores credentials. It downloads data. It keeps it persistent on the phone, which means that all of the keys to your back end and all of your consumers' information is sitting on the phone, protected by maybe a 4-digit passcode that can be broken, I don't know, in 15 seconds. Think about that. One of the other things that's happening out in the world is a lot of open banking initiatives in Europe. Banks are partnering with fintech challengers or simply making APIs available for transaction processing, credit cards, and things of this nature. The big question on the table is, what is your minimum standard of security when you make your APIs available to downstream developers? What do you say as a bank who's opening up your data stores and your back end and your transaction processing? What do you say to the developer about security? Do you say that if you use my API, the connection between your app and my back end has to be secure? Do you say that any information you download from my API has to be encrypted? What do you place on the downstream developer to protect the end user who's accessing and getting the benefit of your data? Again, the reality is 85% of mobile apps are not protected. Those of you who know me know that I'm also a hacker, so if you really want to have some fun and you want to see if your apps are protected, ask me, and in about 11 to 15 minutes I'll tell you whether you actually have any protection in your app or not. Okay, how does it happen? How does it work? What do hackers do? The number one thing I want to tell you is hackers do not sit in the basement of their abuelita's house with headphones on, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Doesn't happen. They use automation. They use tools. And there's so many of these tools out there. The standard, curve of a hacker is that the hacker isn't interested in hacking your app. The hacker is interested in building a tool that hacks apps. Because if they build a tool that hacks apps, they publish the tool to everybody, and then they're famous for publishing the tool that learned how to hack banking apps. So they focus on automation. Interestingly, we often find this, the defenders, the security teams who are charged with protecting banking, retail, commerce apps, they're trying to learn to code. They're trying to learn to code security for the first time, so they can't keep up, right? Anyone who's ever tried to make a cup of coffee at home and has a machine that makes coffee knows the machine is a lot quicker, a lot more reliable, a lot more consistent than trying to do it one by one. This is the challenge. It's actually extremely easy to be a hacker. 15 years ago, 10 years ago, to tell you I was a hacker would be to tell you that I have some special skill, some special knowledge, that I've spent years breaking into things. And the reality is it's very, very easy to break apps. Any single one of you in the audience today could go onto Google, type in how to hack an Android app, how to hack an iOS app, and get hundreds of tools, thousands of videos by 11-year-olds, 9-year-olds posting videos to try to get likes, to try to get social clout, to tell you just how to do it. And entire economies are built up. We do a lot of work with crowdsourced vulnerability assessment companies, and it turns out kids age 11 to 17 earn the most money in bug bounty programs. They come home from school, they go on the internet, they search for how to do it, they learn the tools, they learn how to use them, they implement them, and they attack. They told me not to put logos of Ecuadorian banks, so I apologize. I know they're not from Ecuador, but so they're from around the world, but whatever. So the question is, what do hackers look for? How do we break into your apps? How are they coming to steal data? How are they coming to take everything that you've built? How are they coming to destroy your economy? The answer is quite simple. We look for three basic things, okay? We look at the data that the app produces, we look at the environment that the app is running on, and we look at the code. We basically hook your phone up to a cable or download an app onto a phone that does jailbreak or root, and from that point we control the phone. Once we control the phone, we control the app, we can start to play with it, we can start to understand it, and it's not like we're doing this on keyboards. Again, there are tools that do this. So in about, roughly speaking, 11 minutes, we can know everything there is to know about how to access your backend. We can tell you if usernames and passwords are passed in the clear. Even if you put security measures in your app, we can figure out how to disable those and crack those. It's very, very easy to do that. This is the target list of things that hackers look for to attack apps. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be much of a talk if I told you we didn't have a solution to this. So we do. We have a solution that actually uses artificial intelligence to code security to apps, to turn automation into something that the defenders can use, that the good guys can take advantage of. So if you have a mobile app, if you have a mobile business, if you have mobile consumers and mobile users who depend on you to save their money or transact business and so forth, and you have even the tiniest suspicion that you may not be doing the best for them, come see AppDome and let us help you secure your app in about 30 seconds or less and use automation to protect every mobile citizen in Ecuador. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Oh, picture. I always forget about the picture.
Yeah, please stay here for a while. I'm going to leave my phone here.
That's fine.
Don't hack it. Okay.
A little bit.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here.